Hello everyone, welcome back to Polaris Online Open Day. I hope you have enjoyed our session so far by my beautiful colleagues. Thank you, Natasha, for your beautiful tips about the mindfulness meditation, something really needed today in these times. So let me introduce myself. My name is Delicia Farrugia and I am a family therapist. That means that I work with families and with relationships to help people build their most meaningful relationship and also help people repair their relationship when they have been through difficult times. So emotional connection is something very, very relevant for us family therapists. We see and we believe that emotional connection is the basis for everyone to thrive, for us to reach our potential. And emotional connection is something which is very, very relevant at this moment in time. The coronavirus pandemic is facing us with the reality that whether we are aware of it or not, finally we are all connected with each other. We are all interdependent. The coronavirus pandemic is showing us that it's not enough for me to decide what to do for myself, because my actions will directly have an impact on the well-being of other people. Additionally, what other people choose to do will inevitably have also an impact on my own well-being and on the well-being of the people that we love. So this coronavirus pandemic is really helping us to acknowledge and appreciate that we are all connected and that if we do take care of each other, at the end of the day, everyone has to benefit. Okay, so this coronavirus pandemic is raising a lot of questions, and I would like to start by addressing some reflections that many parents have shared with me. So many parents are concerned about how am I going to talk to my child about the coronavirus pandemic. They want to make them aware of what is going on, but at the same time they don't want to scare them. And this is very important. So the first tip is that this situation is also giving us opportunity to also find new ways about how to communicate together. So it's very important that you do tell your child, according to their age, in an age-appropriate manner, what is going on and be truthful. But at the same time, it's important to keep it simple, and it's very important not to scare the children, not to scare our children. So when we tell them about what is going on, when we explain to them why you're not going to school, it's important to also tell them that we're doing this because we are protecting ourselves and protecting the people that we love. So it's also important to limit what children see in the media. Children, when they are young, they still don't have the resources to interpret what they are seeing. And if they hear on the news that in other countries there are many people getting ill and many people that are dying, they might be really scared. They might question their own mortality, or they might even think that they might lose the people that they love, their parents or their grandparents. And such anxiety and fear of loss is devastating for children. So it's important to limit what children see in the media and also to focus on what can be done to keep ourselves safe. And this, so for example, we tell our children how to wash their hands, and we can do this in a fun way, like a game. There are many resources online about how this can be done. And we tell our children to listen by staying away, by contacting people through phone or through online platforms like that. Yes, it's true that this virus is contagious, and it is also true that it can affect more vulnerable people like elderly and people who have chronic conditions. But it's important to focus on this. But The fact that you're not going to school, the fact that we're washing our hands, the fact that we're not visiting granny anymore in person, but we are calling them, this way we are contributing to keeping ourselves and our loved ones safe. This way children gain a sense of empowerment and also a sense of control. And like this, they don't feel helpless and scared. I think it's also important to create an environment where children can ask us anything about it and where we are there to listen and to calm them down. And obviously, in order to do this, it's also very important that parents take care of themselves and each other, and that you also reach out for support to yourself. Your children might also ask you and worry about their grandparents. And like this, it's also important to tell them, listen, we are protecting our grandparents by staying at home, but get your children even to call them, or maybe they can prepare some cards with nice messages for their grandparents, so when this is over, they can hand them to their grandparents. It's very important, not only for children, but especially for children, but for all of us, to keep in mind that this is temporary. It's true that we don't know definitely how long this will last, but this shall also pass. I also would like to make a note that my heart goes out to all those parents that at the moment they are struggling because of this change. This is a huge change and we were not prepared for it. So they are at home with their family, their children, trying to keep their children entertained during the day, and at the same time many of them, they also need to keep on with their work commitments through online platforms. So it is a change for everyone. Don't expect yourself to be over functioning all the time. It's okay to have moments where your temper is a bit shorter than usual. So do get help, and one thing that usually helps a bit in this is to still keep a routine for children. But the routine has to change. We cannot go through this time with the same perspective that we were living before this pandemic happened. We need to change our perspective. And this is something that we can create together with our children. Like, for example, what time they go to bed, what time they concentrate on their schoolwork, what time they do some solitary play, and maybe you can also have some time for yourself. So it's important not to be too rigid, because rigidity can create frustration and friction between us and can also move us away from this deep connection that we need. But it's also important to have some sort of routine. Hopefully this will help to create something new and change our lifestyle during this pandemic. Something else that I would like to reflect upon is also on couple relationships. So right now, with this coronavirus pandemic, many couples have the opportunity to spend more time together. So this is also an opportunity to rediscover ourselves, rediscover why we chose to be with this person, why we fell in love in the beginning with this person. Sometimes with our busy schedule, we might have overlooked that. However, it's also, this coronavirus pandemic can also help us to become aware of aspects of our relationships that we might have overlooked and that we might have not had the time to really concentrate on because of our busy schedule. So what can happen is that when we are spending so much time together and when we are being so much in each other's space, it could be that these difficulties, these aspects can start to come to the surface. So it could be that we will start arguing a bit more. So it's normal. Don't think that your relationship is in crisis because you are arguing more. We all have our own worries because of this pandemic. Some have financial issues, issues in relation to career. And on top of those issues, it's very normal that we find each other in each other's space. and that we argue more. So don't think that your relationship is in crisis because of that. One tip for this is to, as much as possible, try to communicate by avoiding criticism. Okay, criticism, research shows us that one of the biggest killers in our relationship is criticism. And there is also things you can read about that. However, something also to keep in mind is that if being together with our partner maybe it starts shedding light to a bigger problem that maybe before we were overlooking, maybe before we were escaping into our own routine, and right now this coronavirus pandemic is really supporting us to look at it. So maybe this is the time to concentrate on those aspects of our relationships that need more nurturing. And couples can do this in different ways. Couples have their own resources about how to face their own problems. They have support from family and friends. But some might also consider getting professional help and support. And I do strongly encourage you to look for that if you think that is supportive to you, that is helpful to you. Something else that might help couple relationships is to also respect each other's boundaries. So even though we are being maybe in the same household, it doesn't mean that we have to be together all the time. It's important to also respect some private time that maybe us or our partner might need to do our own things. And that is something that can be done even through discussing with each other and seeing the times that we can spend together and also the times that maybe we can do our own things. And this is sometimes more challenging when there are also the children. So we might also share parenting responsibilities. So keep in mind that although we are going through stressful times, to be compassionate with one another. We are stressed, I am stressed, and also my partner would be stressed. So it's important to also be compassionate with one another and keep in mind that this time will pass, and it would be a shame to let temporary stress damage a relationship that is worth investing in. Okay, so something else I wanted to talk about is how we are going to safeguard our connection or maybe even strengthen our connection with people who are more vulnerable during this time. This could be a loved one, it could be ourselves, it could be also someone that we know that is not part of our family. So this virus is also teaching us the importance that we are responsible in what we do to protect people who are more vulnerable. So something that is coming to mind is also how we are going to safeguard the connection with people who live on their own, and especially our elderly parents and grandparents. So it's important to keep in mind that for our elderly grandparents, sometimes going to their local store to buy the groceries or running an errand or helping us with the children, that was something that was giving them a reason to wake up in the morning, a reason to get dressed and get prepared, and was also giving them a sense of accomplishment. So the fact that now, to protect themselves, they have to stay inside. Maybe they are not seeing their children and their grandchildren as often as before, or right now it's not safe for them to meet their grandchildren. This could be something that for them it could feel like a big loss. They could experience grief. So how can we offer them an opportunity to safeguard this connection in a different way? Some elderly have amazed me about how they managed to even learn how to use the internet, so they can use Skype, so we can connect through them with Skype. But those of them who can't use the internet, we can also use the phone. And something that really helps is to even give them a bit of structure. For example, we can call them in the morning, in the afternoon, and before they go to bed. So like that, we structure their day a bit better. Something to keep in mind is that, as I said before, their previous routine used to give us, but also elderly, our beloved elderly, a form of purpose, a sense of purpose. So this also pushes us to think of creative ways about how we can give that sense of purpose to our grandparents. And many grandparents, you know your parents or your grandparents most, so you are the expert in how this can be done. But something that I notice as a pattern is that our elderly parents and grandparents, they are very much satisfied when they can be useful to us. So we can give them a sense of purpose even by, for example, calling them and telling them to tell us, to teach us to do a recipe, a traditional recipe, and put them on the phone while they are teaching us and instructing us what to do. Like this, we are learning from their own wisdom, and at the same time, they also are being given the opportunity to give to us, to feel connected with us. So that is also something important to keep in mind. And also, let's try, if we know someone that lives on their own, they are the most susceptible for isolation, let us make that call, okay, and send that message. This could also be a time where we can rekindle those relationships that, because of our busy schedule, we might have overlooked. So it's also something that I would like to share with you. It's also the importance of this emotional connection. During this coronavirus pandemic, we are being very much provided with this information about how we are to keep our immune system healthy. And this has to do with exercising, it has to do with hand hygiene, it has also to do with our own diet, but also, so these things are paramount, but also something that research shows us is that a deep, safe emotional connection is something that actually boosts the immune system and protects us from disease. So concentrating, so during this pandemic, where we are given this opportunity to really spend a lot of time together, let's take this opportunity to move a bit away from an individualistic way of thinking that sometimes we are very much subject to in this society. And let's concentrate a bit on ourselves and on the people that we love, and on this emotional and safe connection. I think it's very important to realize that yes, this pandemic will pass, but let's not let it pass without getting the wisdom out of it. And one of the wisdom that I think is very important is to realize, when we slow down, we have the time to realize how important and how paramount relationships are to our own well-being. So this pandemic is also an opportunity for us to look into this. Okay, so hope these tips made sense to you. Hope you can take something out of this and make it relevant for your life. So let's concentrate on keeping ourselves safe and also our loved ones safe during this time. It's also important to tell our children that we are there for them, that we are not alone, that the health authorities are doing their best. They are taking measures and precautions to keep us safe. Because the sense of safety, we get it not only, we get it from the people close to us, but we also get it from our own environment. We are all whole. We all are all connected. So it's also important to tell our children, listen, you're not going to school because that is the way that we are keeping each other safe. Okay, so I hope you enjoyed that. If you feel it in your heart to donate something to Polaris, we would really appreciate that, and we promise you that it will help us to keep motivated, to satisfy our mission, to create well-being. Many of our sessions, many of our services are also available online during this pandemic. So if you would like to make contact with us to set an appointment, you can do that through our own website. If you have any questions, you can post them down below and I will look at them. I promise I will read them all and I will reply to you later on. So now next there is my beautiful colleague Yasmin, who's going to show us some belly fit exercises. So I really would like to encourage you to, as a family, go in front of the laptop and follow what Yasmin is doing. It will be good for your health and I'm sure that it will be fun. Okay, so in order to be able to see Yasmin, her next session, it's important that you do refresh the page of this page, the Polaris Facebook page, so that you will be able to see Yasmin. Yasmin will be with you shortly in around 8 minutes. So thanks so much. If you need anything, please do contact us. You can post down below or you can contact also Polaris. Have a good afternoon, stay safe, and thanks so much for tuning in. Bye-bye.